Hey, what's up, Magma friends? Welcome back to Clubhouse Live. Let's see. Let's introduce our host first. Ryan, how you doing today?
Good, thanks yourself,
Good, very
Magmalorian.
good. I am your host, the Magmalorian. I was gonna try to hijack this stream a little bit because it is officially Mandalorian season 3 day, and long story short, I built this. I did a tutorial long while ago, live streamed it on YouTube and in like how to build a helmet, and then I ended up making this AR effect, and I turned it on, but I can't turn it off with Snap Camera. It was like 5 minutes before the stream.
Awesome. I dig it. I dig it.
And makes sense to stick to maybe some Star Wars themed graffiti today. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that sounds cool. I have a little something else lined up for myself. Going, going for some pigeons. Been a while since I painted pigeons. Um, yeah,
Nice.
Have you watched the first episode yet?
Oh, you know it. That was the first moment I woke up.
Awesome.
um, it
Yeah.
looks like
So yeah.
Mungy's not able to get into the canvas.
Okay.
While you're doing that real quick, for anybody who's jumping in, we have shifted time zones for this particular stream. So if you are jumping in now or soon after we start this, just going to go through and this is actually Magma Classroom, but it should say Magma Clubhouse, but the rules are the same. So I want to go through the quick code of conduct for you all. Rule number 1 is no AI. Some Magma beta testers have access to these AI features that we've been working on, but this stream is dedicated to core drawing and painting, so we're going to keep it to that. No safe for work content. I think everybody gets the drill there. Be kind of considerate, of course. Everybody's been doing a great job of this, making sure not to draw in other people's spaces. If we do ask you to comply to something, just try to do your best to follow along so we can keep it safe for everyone. And we do have a 3-strike policy. So, keeping in line with all this stuff, if people break these rules 3 times, we'll give you the permanent ban from the art space. But we don't want that to happen. So everybody's been doing a great job. And then last but not least, most importantly, no Jedi allowed in the Magma Clubhouse today.
Nice. No scum. No scum.
All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's jump in. So, and actually, let me go ahead and I need to change our little stream graphic because today we are focusing specifically on, I'd like to open up the question, is it street art or is it graffiti, since we didn't ask permission to paint on this subway wall?
Well, I suppose it depends on what you put in. I suppose if you didn't ask permission, some would characterize it as vandalism. But I mean, I call it beautification. But graffiti and street art, I mean, they're two different things. Graffiti tends to focus more on lettering, and street art has like sort of different kind of visuals. It's not quite so lettering focused. That's kind of yeah. People tend to like lump them all together, and often there is significant overlap.
Yeah, no, that's a good. That sounds like a really good description. I was reading about this last night as we were or a couple days ago, we were talking about putting this together, and so what's the difference between that? But that about sums it up to me.
Cool. Yeah, interesting stuff. So I'm going to try and do some graffiti lettering, which I've never done before. Actually, I've painted on walls, but it's always been like characters and whatever else. So I'll try some lettering in here.
You're primed for it if you just on your travels. How many places you probably get to see?
Oh man, I've seen some cool art. Actually, there's a street art festival that happens here in Tbilisi. I think it happens annually. I wasn't around for it last time. We were traveling, so hopefully this year I'll be around at the same time they get some artists in.
Cool.
But I don't know if they get them in at different times of the year or how exactly it works. But there's some cool murals that have been painted here. Okay. Do you want to cue up some? Well, not cue it up. Play some music on this side.
You are always on the music queue. I love it. Yeah, I always forget.
It's a bit quiet.
Let's go back to the lo-fi.
Nice.
Your mic's a little low. Is there any way to boost it?
There is. One is just bring this thing closer to my face, because so let's see if you can if you can still hear this. If I...
Oh, wow.
Can you hear the fan like tick 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 tick?
Yeah, I can actually now that you're calling it out.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm still waiting for my new fans to arrive. They've got to come in, I think, from the States, and then they've got to get through to Georgia and got to go through customs, get to the computer guy, and then hopefully by end of next week that'll be resolved and I can paint and think straight. I have to really crank up the music in my headphones.
Is that a giant distraction for you in the background? It's not a very soothing sound.
No, not at all. Thankfully, these are noise cancelling headphones, so as long as they're not plugged in with the cable like I have them now, then they're pretty effective. Oh wait, I'm trying to paint on my StreamYard thing. That's not going to work now, is it? So for me, we switched around the times. For me, it's first thing in the morning. The coffee is still kind of kicking in. I'm physically awake, but mentally, I'm not so sure. It remains to be seen.
Now you know how I feel. That's me every morning. Trying to keep it together. Now I'm far more relaxed and at ease later in the evening.
You can wind down nicely. Okay. Let's see. Actually, it'd be cool if something comes out of these archways too. So is my mic fine now, or do I need to bump it up a bit?
It's still the same, honestly. I mean, I can figure it.
No, that's cool. I haven't actually adjusted the levels at all. Welcome to live streaming, folks, where everything gets figured out like in the moment. There we go. That was a bit low. There we go. That should be a bit better.
That's great. That sounds much better.
Get the mic real close. Go for that cool Ergo Josh sounding thing. Dude's got such a cool voice. There the microphone's falling. Come here. There we go. I'll just have to lean into the mic. Okay, sketchy time. Let's do it. So we can't talk about Mandalorian now. Actually, that first episode, we wait till everyone's caught up.
I know. I thought about it, but I didn't miss a beat. I was like, first thing, making breakfast, boom.
Good life choices right there. That's
yeah.
I do exactly the same thing. I'm going to sketch a bit lighter. Who is that? So maybe I can do one coming out here.
Whoa. Oh, man.
There's my reference. Okay. So I'm going to try maybe take over this section here.
Season 1, episode 4. What was that one again?
I don't remember. Oops.
Episode 3, I feel like is when he meets the what's her name? Gina's character. Yeah, it's all blurring together, but definitely worth catching up.
I mean, any excuse to watch it again, right?
Totally. Yeah, the village attack. That's right. That's the one. Okay, that's the one reason the village. Okay, I was thinking that was 3. Oh yeah, you got to get to season 2, the finale of season 2. You just caught up, Ryan, right?
Yeah, I did, and I've caught up with Book of Boba Fett. So I'm all just bathing in it. Really enjoyed the crossovers with in both Mandalorian and Boba Fett, with Mandalorian and Boba together. Thought they were pretty cool.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, you did catch up to that? You're all good on those?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it for anybody else, but yeah, that was one of my favorite things. That episode with the crossover between the two. I guess the last 2 episodes were just awesome.
Yeah.
Except for the like the Power Rangers like punk kids. I didn't get that one.
I'm with you on that. I didn't like that at all. I thought it was a very strange decision. Like the contrast with the rest of the world seemed seemed very odd to me.
Yeah, it's just not Star Wars. Like,
Yeah, it didn't. Yeah.
none of that vibe was Star Wars to me. And like even the speeder bikes that they were riding felt so,
Yep.
I don't know, it was like Cyberpunk just like stepped into Star Wars.
Yeah, agreed. Felt exactly the same. Maybe I'll just paint over this scaffolding a bit here, or I'll paint over to start, and then I'll erase to bring it back. Okay.
Oh, one thing to mention before I forget, for those of you that are here with us, if you want to listen to us talk about stuff and there is a bit of a delay, the delay seems to be heavier on YouTube. Twitch, apparently, one of our streamers or one of our viewers last stream said that Twitch was almost no delay. So if you want to check that out, drop us, let me know in the chat. I might just share it real quick in the YouTube chat as well. Twitch is the way.
It's probably because of my end. My connection has been so weird the last like 2 weeks. I'm still getting it now where my canvas is refreshing. And it doesn't matter what, I've got 2 different networks that I'm running here. And on both of them, it's the same. So it might just be that the delay is balancing the chaos on my end. Sorry.
No worries.
Right. Ah, there it goes. It does. Yes, it really makes makes teaching hell of a difficult.
Yeah, I know that was a bit of a struggle in your last classroom.
Yeah.
Getting the refresh.
I thought what I could do. So now we're talking shop here in the live stream, whatever. Is kind of pre-record the sort of lesson part and play that through during at the start of things, and then once I've done with like just explaining and going through the demo, switch over to the canvas, because right now like every second mark I get a canvas refresh, but so that we at least get through the lesson without any of that.
If the connection continues to be like that, and that we could totally do that. I'd be curious to know, any of y'all catch the last classroom stream? Would that be a good alternative?
Because I mean, people could still paint on the canvas, no worries. Just that you kind of still need I suppose a dual screen setup maybe to follow along. I wouldn't be painting on the same canvas at the same time. Well, I could try. I could try and follow along to my own instruction and replicate it.
Honestly, you've got that stuff down so much. I bet you probably could.
I've like repeatedly gone through the lesson demo in my head, and on the canvas, just to make sure that when it comes time to actually show people that I know what I'm talking about.
Doing your rehearsals before.
Exactly. Yeah. Have to do them on canvas. I can't do them in front of the mirror.
Yeah.
No. I was quite surprised by what we can say about The Mandalorian is how much shorter the episode was, the pilot episode for season 3. Well, not the pilot, just
it was.
Season 1 was, I think, it was over an hour for the first episode, and this one was just under 40 minutes, credits included.
Yeah, they really teased us with that first episode because it was, they were trying to make sure that it was going to be a thing. And then all the remaining episodes felt like they were pretty short too. It's just never enough for me. I just always want like another, 30 minutes at least.
Of course. But that's good. That's good that they leave you in that state.
Yeah.
It shows they're doing the job well.
I think so, yeah.
What else can I try? So now I've started watching Andor. Got through the first episode of that because I believe that's not too bad.
I was a huge fan. I'm a huge fan. I thought that was like the best thing they've done, like to bring something new. I mean, Mendo brought something new, and that one it actually captured like a really great scenario and like the whole story. I don't know. I have a lot of friends that were not down for it. They were like, "It's like who asked for this?" I was like, "I did. Like I wanted this."
Like the artists that I follow on Twitter, they've all been like, they'll just tweet like Ando, like or Ando. Now I'm saying Mando and Ando. Andor, just that's it. That's a tweet. Go watch it.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got to jump in. Yeah. Let's see. And then this can go. Let's turn my tablet around. There goes the canvas refresh.
Yeah, I mean, some of the shots, the visual effect shots that they actually put together for Endor, I thought were really, really good. Some of the establishing shots for when they're on Coruscant and like different views of the city, it was like there's so much praise that you can give to George Lucas for what he's done for VFX and just that industry as a whole, and just from a visual standpoint, they did amazing things. But you can go back and look at some of the shots that they did. Like, remember when he did, like, how many times did they re-release Star Wars, where they would update the CG, and like, they did it like 3 times. It was like the VHS re-release and then the Blu-ray, and some of the shots, the way that they're filming from certain angles, just did, it was dated. It was like of a time to look over, using CG to give like a massive cityscape. And Andor took that, but it's like capturing like dark, long corridors and hallways, and it was so cool.
I've got the Blu-ray box set for the episode 1 through 6. Yeah, along with all the behind the scenes stuff, which is one of my treasures.
Nice.
But now, like, I mean, I'd have to get a device that runs Blu-ray in order to access those. I suppose for now it's just going to be a sort of shelf decoration.
Yeah.
And get the digital versions. Oh, no, that's incorrect, Ryan. I cannot spell.
All right. I'm doing reference on my phone.
Oh dear. The only problem, I don't know. Do you have quite a bit of control over your screen, just your display switching off on its own?
What do you mean? The phone. I do. I just turn off all the display stuff.
Okay. Because I was tried using my phone for that, and it just for whatever reason the sort of always on setting doesn't quite behave the way I expected it to, and my screen still goes off quite frequently, as you have to keep unlocking.
Yeah, that's super annoying.
Thumbprint. Yeah. Oh well.
So, what do you got? Any new joiners today? Rupert Bunny.
Yeah, that's a new name.
Everesky. I never get that one right. So sorry. I keep wanting to say Evanescence, and I really apologize for that. Nexus.
It's cool to see Monkey Man, Nexus, familiar faces from, and Nominon from our other time slots, but still making it here.
Yeah. Yep, Monkey, Nominon. SKV is new. I haven't seen you before. Welcome. Oh,
SKV there. I didn't see that. Everest. Okay. Mount Everest. That's a good way to put it together.
Everest.
Okay.
Okay, nice. Thank you. I'm glad I brought that up. It was bothering me the last time. I have weird control issues with like not knowing somebody's name. Like,
Yeah.
and most people will just kind of let it go.
I've brought this over quite a bit, probably too much. Let's come. All right. Hey,
Muggy Man shared some great stories with me in Discord, or a great story, great D&D story that I thought was really awesome.
Yeah, I got it. Well, I assume I got the same one, but it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
With the rat thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It got me thinking. I was like, let's do a. Yeah, okay, you did send it to Ryan. Got me thinking we should do a rat themed, like just pick some random, like
Nice.
random topics. Just like
Yeah,
just rats.
definitely. I saw Nexus had a stream with firefighters, stream canvas on the streaming on Discord. A bunch of firefighters. It's been cool to see, like, just, yeah, unexpected things.
Yeah.
The rat capital. I definitely shouldn't make a drinking game out of how many times my canvas refreshes. I'm not going to make it through the first quarter of the stream. Loud and loud. Mm.
I want to turn on some kind of spray brushes, some paints, but made me think that's definitely something we should look at.
Yeah, I can look at that.
Different kinds of sprays.
Yeah, this is why Solomon hosts the streams for sure. Oh, that's weird.
Rupert, did somebody take your layer? Let's see.
I did say that only admins can take over, so it might be one of us.
It must have been. Maybe it was me.
How odd.
That one right there.
Okay.
Ah, there you go. My bad. I found it. Okay, here, let me cut that out. Okay, we'll get rid of that. This one is... Okay, just assigned it back. You should be good. My bad. Teamwork. Let me know if that was okay.
Curse you!
Sweet.
The with this canvas refresh things, what happens is that it also it kind of steps back in time a little bit. So if I've made any changes to my brush settings or switch colors or something, it steps back to whatever the previous settings were, and I just carry on painting. Like, wait, that's not the color, or that brush is way too small. Or like, oh man, it's chaos.
Absolute chaos. That sounds like a self-sabotage.
Oh yes. Goes again.
Got me drinking coffee at 10:30 in the evening.
Wow. I've been trying to be much better about the times that I drink coffee. Like once it gets to about, depending on what I have planned for the day, but if I'm gonna have just a normal day where I'm not going to bed at 2, I think by like between 4 and 6, I don't want to be having like another cup of coffee, because it does just sort of keep me a little too alert before
Yeah, it
going to
does.
bed.
It really does.
And then I try not to have one coffee straight after the other, like in the morning. Just try and space it out a little bit.
Yeah, that's the real kicker. So when you start stacking up, I remember doing pretty regularly for a handful of years. It was like 5 cups a day, easy.
Wow.
Easy.
Of filter coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Hells.
I know it was wild. I mean, I was working a full-time job. I've been doing the part-time professor teaching gig for quite a while now, but those days it was I was teaching at the LA Film School, and they ran it was like really intense sessions, like 6-hour classes, and it was super intense to kind of boot camp everything, go super hard for long periods of time, and that would go from like was it 6 to midnight? I think I was doing 6 to midnight for a while, and
Damn.
yeah, it was just long days and long nights, and so the coffee was just like my best friend. But it definitely, I can't do that anymore. If I try, I just everything shuts down.
Yeah, for sure. And those were more practical focused, I'm assuming, those classes.
Yeah, exactly. Those were character design, digital sculpting, 3D modeling, a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of like a 6-hour block of a single class. It's quite hectic. The only time we've done that is when, like if we were doing drawing classes or stuff, we're specifically just doing life drawing or still life studies and whatever. But just more of a practical thing. You could zone in. People would lock into their music.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, without a doubt. 3-hour lectures and then 3-hour labs.
I see. Okay. We should add more to your workload, and you could teach some of those things in Magma, perhaps.
Let's do it.
Oh man, Udi's class on Tuesday was so good.
Oh yeah, did you catch it? Did you like it?
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. He explained things so well. I really like this kind of his ice cube head method, starting off with more of a rounded square than like the circle and whatever other weird shape that you get with something like the Loomis method.
Mm-hmm. Sabotage.
Saw that.
There he is, Monkey Man. Never misses a beat. Yeah, now that I think about it, I do remember one of your comments in that stream, and I was watching as well, while I was kind of doing stuff in the background with getting people in there, and it was I think I love the way that he delivers the information on like his character design stuff. It's all very kind of textbook, but also fluid, and he throws in his take, and he goes to the feedback spaces that I love that not all instructors do. Being willing to kind of go in, and even if you're still showing something, always showing something to give some kind of feedback.
Yeah. No, for sure. And using it as, I thought with one of the drawings that he went over, there wasn't really a need to necessarily improve that drawing, but it could use it as a launch pad into explaining some other thing for like general approaching or improvement.
Yeah,
which I thought was good. It's not like it's this drawing, no, you've done this wrong, but it's like, okay, cool, well now if we look at this and that, you can build on it further. He does it very well.
Right. Yeah, that's good. That's good commentary there. I like that. I was thinking about for your stream, I think we could do the same if you want, if keeping the canvas like fully open, or that one I kind of tried out something different, doing the passcode thing. So if you want to get in and like get the feedback and all that stuff, and get your own canvas. But I do also, on the flip side, like the differences between them. One being more open and one being more like traditionally structured, I guess you'd
Yeah.
call it.
Yeah, I think for mine we'll keep it at its current sort of just thing. Just keep it open. Yeah. Let's drop this down. Whoa. Little microphone bump there.
I didn't hear it.
Well, we did. Undo. That's a cool color palette. I like that. With that kind of orangey, where is it? No, more of a pink. Okay, it's like, but next to the purples, it looks so much warmer. It's a nice palette. There goes the refresh. Not refreshing. Okay, and then no. What do you mean? Give me back my life. You don't have any layer selected. What do you mean I don't have layer selected? This is my layer. Give me back my layer. What trickery is this?
Going on?
No, I can't seem to select my layer. That is so weird. Okay, when in doubt, refresh.
Indeed.
There we go. And all was right with the world. What color am I gonna make this? I actually like this blue. Let's keep with it. Let's keep to it. Ah. I became conscious of my making sound effects every time the canvas refreshes. Back in junior school, one of my best mates, part of our, like, the defining parts of our friendship, well, there are two parts. Micro machines and making sound effects in class while, like, driving things around on our desks. Good times.
I love that Micro Machines is the first one, though.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, come on.
Obviously.
Jeez. Micro machines were life. I love to see that, just sort of like there's whole bases that open up, and then I had one that it was this sort of half moon shaped base with a tower in the middle with a light that worked, a little torch light, and then all around it a bunch of missiles that you could fire around on the battlefield.
Dude, those were insane. Those Micro Machine like bases were just nuts. Monkey Man said as a teen, what? Wish we could explain that one.
Different world, man. Different world.
Truly.
Different time.
Nobody messed with toys in the 90s, man.
Now it's all Stardew Valley and Subway Surfer.
Yep.
We used to go outside. Jeez. I was even thinking about normal, like, city parks. Like back home, people don't seem to use the public parks so much. I mean, there's for all kinds of reasons, from maintenance and crime and like just general safety, to I think just also the way these kids do things these days. But here, like, people are out in the parks all the time. They're really well used. They're really well maintained too. But just hanging out in the park is such a normal thing. Whether it's sitting and reading or eating pastries, whatever.
Cool.
But it was so nice to see, and a different thing to see for me coming from old South Africa. Pastries, but pastries are life after micro machines.
Totally. Speaking of machines, we are now officially in March. I just realized that we talked about this, but I think after this stream, everything needs to be March of Robots until the end of the month.
I think so. Yeah, and we could do like Star Wars droids in the next one. You know,
Totally.
keep it in line with that. I think that'll be fun.
There are endless universes of different robots we could play around with.
There's also a prompt list on the March of Robots social media and website and all that. So could also play around with prompts of the day or any ones that are on the list.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah, prompt lists are so helpful for these sort of monthly challenges. It can be really difficult to come up with ideas each day.
Yeah, it totally. Yeah, definitely want to make that part much easier. I think in the less thought process, the better, because the more you think about it, it's like, man, there's a billion things that we could be doing, you know?
You're living that mural along the side there, Nomi Nom. I keep saying Nomi Nom because that's kind of me walking around past the bakery. Nom 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 nom. But, that wall's looking cool. Let's color pick this again. Okay, let's shift my reference over. Oh, I had to zoom out a bit there to see what Nex is doing. Oh, cool. Digging the cracks in the moss coming in too. Yes.
I want to see what's up.
Nature infiltrating there on the right.
Oh, dude. Nexus with the environmentals. Always on point.
Oops, wrong. There we go. Okay. Oops. Fit it in here. Whoa, heard myself whistling back there.
Just
Sound
a
dialing
just
back.
a habit.
Oh, nice, getting some texture in that helmet there. Alright. Top refreshing.
Yeah, nice, Ryan. That's looking good. You got a whole canvas over there. That's gonna be sweet.
I've taken up quite a chunk of space, but it just seems like there's not a lot of people on the wall itself. So, oh, well, I'm just gonna take over then. It's what I do. So on that note of Mandalorian, actually, I've got my first Funko arriving this weekend.
Oh,
And
you do?
yeah, I ordered two. So I think we spoke about this in one of the other streams, and shortly after talking about it, and my wife was busy putting through the order on her side because she's ordering it from Germany.
Yeah.
The one of the ones I wanted was only going to arrive after she left, so I had to rethink which ones I wanted. So okay, let me go look through things again. And I'm so indecisive, man. I think I had like a whole bunch of tabs open. I sat there for like an hour, like, oh, do I want this one or this one? Should I get two from the same world? Should I get two from like different worlds? Like again, I'll get two from different things. So, and I was gonna go for one with Mando together with Grogu, like flying around in his jetpack. But then I went for a different one where it was just Mando with his little blaster pistol jobby, and then another one of Naruto, seeing as that is one of my first favorite animes. But he's sort of like, it's a more dynamic pose where he's busy doing his Rasengan. So he's like leaping through the air about to do it. So both like Mando kind of flying around and then like Naruto jumping around. So they're not just like these standstill pops. A bit more dynamic. I like
Dude, that sounds amazing. I think the last thing I said to you was like, good luck. So once you go in, it's just like an endless project, you know. You're gonna continue buying more.
The other thing I had with the Mando one together with Grogu, in the product photos, I didn't like the look of the paint job on parts of it, and I mean I could probably alter that myself, but I thought that for my first ones I don't want to be like fiddling. I want to get it, I want to put it on display and be like 100% happy. So yeah. But then I was, should I get Mando and Boba Fett? No, put them together. That could look cool.
I mean, you gotta have them all.
That was such a good idea when they came up with this whole concept. People so hooked.
Yeah, I've done so far. I've done a really good job. I used to be like an obsessive collector, and then eventually just kind of like stopped buying stuff like that and started focusing on like just trying to keep my space clean. But now that I've been in this office for a little while now and thinking about new things to do, and I want to get a desk that's going to have a lot of like shelves above it. I was like, what am I going to put? I got to figure out things to buy and like stuff to put, and got me thinking like the collectibles.
It's time again. Get into that. Yeah. All the big Star Wars Lego sets.
Oh yeah, those are sweet.
Okay, I need to stylize those. This doesn't kind of shape like that. Stop, refreshing, adjusting that.
I saw next set of question. What are your thoughts on people who don't have a consistent art style? It's an interesting question.
Yeah, it's a good one. I've seen it come up with a few artists, and it depends on, I suppose, what line of work you want to get into. I mean, if you want to do like, if you're an independent, you just want to be focusing on your own work, or whether you want to be working in comics or game studio or doing production, Because if you want to go into video games, for example, I think the ability to be versatile in your style is really valuable, because I mean the IP is going to have its unique style that it needs to be consistent and replicated for the project. But then you might move on to something else later on, and then you've got to learn that style sheet and shape language and shift over.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you don't have like your own style, that's totally fine in production art. But for like your own stuff, even then still, I mean, yeah, people get their own unique style and it becomes part of their identity, but it's something that develops over time. You know, you just got to like keep drawing, keep figuring out your references, and it'll sort of emerge. But I don't think it's like a necessity.
Yeah.
I don't know, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's a good question. I was, as you were talking about, it got me thinking about, I agree with you. I think that when it comes to the professional market, when you get into that space, you can be far more applicable and versatile in your roles and the jobs that you can do and I guess it comes down to like, what do you mean by style? Because, you could build something, you can, say you're like a character artist and you need to build to a specific style. Having a range is super important, to your point, Ryan. But then when you get away from that part, like anybody I know, any friends I have that work in the industry and have like, they end up getting a lot of the same types of gigs or working for the same places, maybe because they just get really good at, Fortnite characters or, fill in the blank, just some genre. But then I've observed those people that also in their free time get into other things and they have this wide range of, skills and they can stylize differently. But then I think is kind of, I see that as this kind of common. A lot of friends that I have that I would consider really good artists a lot of them do have a range. Not all of them. Some of them are very specific in like kind of what they do, and it ends up looking very much the same. But to your point, I think that supports it. But then when you get to the other side of the fence, when you're just an artist and you're not necessarily working for a company, you're kind of developing your own specific style. I always feel like those are like, and this is not a criticism or a bash on anybody who works like on this stuff professionally, but it's like, you do it for somebody else, it takes away something a little bit, or has the potential to take something away from your own creative ambitions. Like you kind of lose your own identity in that. You become a utility and a very highly skilled utility that can kind of cross all borders and do all things. But yeah, it's like the people that just figure out their thing and they sell that thing, or they just make their art and it's their style. That to me is like, speaking of graffiti, I mean, that's like Banksy, like that's like its own art form in itself, which I admire all of them for different reasons, but they are slightly different categories, right?
Yeah. I think you're always like shifting modes as an artist. Like if I look at some of the people who've worked in entertainment arts, they'll start out there and they'll work on different IPs with different styles that they have to conform to, but then exactly as you say, like they'll start work on other projects on the side, but then they'll start exploring their own thing. It's almost like it's almost like the job has becomes like the training ground, or it gradually then sets you up to do your own like individual work later on, because you've been playing around with these different ways of working, different modes, seeing what's out there. But now it's like enabled something different. You're like, oh well, I'd actually really like to. I've been stuck drawing in this particular way or painting in this particular way, creating things that look in this particular style, but I'd actually really like to try pushing it to more of a realistic direction, or like play with my shapes in this kind of way. Kind of by doing some things, you learn like what other things you want to do, or different things you want to try.
That's such a good. Sorry, go ahead. You got more.
I think artists tend to be in quite like a fluid sort of state. We'll kind of move into these modes where it's working within a style or not having a style, and bouncing back and forth depending on what's required. But yeah. So you were going to say something?
I was just going to add to what you were saying, because I think that's a good point. It's like there's I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought now, but it'll come to me in a second. I had like a whole thing in my head, and then I was also trying to listen to you. Then I also got an email that pulled my attention away.
Yeah, that's the real distraction in the world today. Emails.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. Okay. To the point of different styles, and I like, at least I've observed, there's a lot of successful people that it's like when you learn to develop a style, well, the way I think of it is you're learning to evaluate a process and apply it in a way that, you know, makes you efficient at it. You understand it, like Ryan, when you teach classroom lessons, just value and shading and lighting, it's like these core principles you utilize, and then you develop your own style. It's like there's an understanding to get there. And by being in the workplace and being presented with the challenge to find other styles, a lot of friends that I have that work in a very specific industry or have to do a lot of the same type of work outside of work, a lot of times they'll get into stuff like completely different because they want to expand their horizons and they have an itch to do something else. So it can be a good thing as long as you kind of harness it and utilize it in your motivations, you know, like to want to learn other things. Like it should be okay, you know, having an amazing style and nailing it down perfectly, like that's your identity. But then, you know, plenty of people go out and do all kinds of other things and can be just as great at a new thing as they are at the thing that they mastered at the beginning, you know.
For sure. Yeah. And you keep things fresh for yourself, bouncing around between those modes as well. It's wanting to learn something, and I suppose if you're working in one particular way, like for someone else's IP or project, then you don't want to be doing that same thing with your personal stuff and your free time, because you're probably like, this is just too close to work, right? I want to do something like completely different. That's just me messing around or whatever. So just keeping things fresh for yourself.
Right.
But I mean, even me, I don't feel like I've got like a particular style, and I've been doing this for a few years now, and I still feel like I'm learning, trying to get my fundamentals down a bit better before all the stuff comes out. But I do like to bounce between. Well, I was doing it more a while back, but bounce between trying to do stuff that's sort of semi-realistic to then like stylized characters that I've done for my stickers and whatnot, where it's really silly and fun and sometimes kind of blocky sort of style.
Yeah, I've seen some of those. You have some of those in your portfolio.
Yeah.
No, those are cool. Those are very cool. I dug those.
So that's like a more fun, less serious. Like I probably don't feel too I don't feel too insecure about that sort of work. Not that I'm like, I think it's overly good or anything, but I don't take it as seriously or put as much weight to it as I do with the sort of more realistic stuff that I'm trying to really get better at.
Right.
So I have a place where I can kind of fall back to just have fun doing these, like particularly with the pigeons. I mean, this is one of those expressions of just something fun and ridiculous. I don't have to take myself too seriously putting these kind of things together.
Totally.
And then I'm like, okay, cool. Now that I've had some fun and I feel a bit better about myself, I can go like deal with this thing that I'm really not good at.
Right. No, I totally feel that. Take the pressure off, like enjoy it, have some fun, and for sure. You know what? So you can get caught up in all kinds of like obsessive, like obsessing over trying to master one thing, as you say, like learning the basics and figuring out. I feel like number one, some people just don't really have a design. I feel like there's a range. There's like a spectrum of artists that some people really need to creative identity in their artwork, like a style. And some people just, I mean, I kind of see myself as one of those people. I'm far more technical, and I enjoy the process. I never I don't know. I just, for whatever reason, I never really sought to like really master any of those one things. I think just because my ADD interest level just peaks and I just kind of like, oh, I want to try that. I want to give that a shot, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I think more important than style is if you're more the independent artist trying to just do your own thing. Probably more important than style is just having something to say. Then it doesn't, because that can be consistent no matter what the visual style is or the language that you're using there. And that you can kind of stick with a similar sort of message or point of interest that follows you over a long period of time, but your style can evolve, you can improve. So it's me with doing animals and stuff, and these portraits that include animals in them. The idea behind them is the same. The reason I want to focus on those things is the same, but with each piece I'm slowly getting better, and maybe it will like gravitate towards a style over time. I could apply the same thing to this sort of fun stylized approach, but then I can also stick with that same concept when I go into the more serious type of portrait. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. What else do you learn from, like, are there any other things you pick up by focusing on specifically animals? Like, a lot of people just want to default to like just humans, to characters.
Well, for me, it's about learning about these different species and learning about ecosystems and the challenges that we're facing in terms of climate change and sort of ecosystem collapsing and endangered species. That list just growing. So it's a way for me to learn a bit more about the world that we occupy, and develop my sort of sense of appreciation for it. But like, as you learn more about this crazy beautiful world, and the more you might be inclined to want to do something to protect it, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a way for me to say something, but also for me to learn about the world around me.
Yeah, that's cool. It's super important to like have a real, like, having meaning and purpose behind things like that outside of just like personal and personal interest can be just as powerful. But you know, if it matters even more to you, it has a huge impact on your motivation, I'm sure, you know, and also to learn, like, to be gaining multiple, like, there's multiple benefits that you get from that. It's not just about the art, it's also about what you're, you know, contributing to, where your passions are, and learning something new in the process. That's super enriching.
Yeah, so it starts to then affect you as a person on multiple levels, not just as like a skill thing. And look, I can paint, but I'm like, oh wait, it's actually the reason I painted with this is because I found out about this or that, and it becomes part of your overall identity, not just your visual side. And you just kind of grow as a person through it.
Yeah,
so,
that's
like, art is so powerful, and then I don't want to get too deep into the AI thing, but there's the process of creating and struggling with these things and finding things that appeal to you. There's a lot to be said for the process and engaging with these different things. Because now, obviously, if I'm going to paint a lemur, it's gonna take me. I have to spend time with that subject, and it's not like I sort of click at the button thing. Okay, cool. There's the picture, but I have to sit with that creature as well. It's kind of like being in the presence of that same thing. I have to look at the reference. I have to try and understand it. So process is valuable. And then obviously internally you're dealing with all the stuff as you take the time. And I think it's maybe with so much in our world today, we don't take the time for things. Everything has to be quite instantaneous. Even just like having your morning coffee, you know, how often are we like grabbing our coffee and just diving straight into work, especially when you're working from home, instead of just, you know, I'm going to sit down or like on the balcony or go out into the garden, enjoy my coffee, and just like wake up with the world around me rather than just jumping straight into just like chugging that coffee, move on to the next one, get to the next email and the next task. And with anything, I think it's heck, even with series, man, like with Mandalorian or anything. Like now we've watched one episode, and I'm so used to just binging one episode after the next of a series. But now I've got to deal with this anticipation between today and next week. I just want it all now.
Yeah, but putting that into practice, how much better is that, right? Like just from doing that, you got to focus on your art, you got to get a bunch of things done, find some time to really appreciate the content. I can tell you, I just absorb everything, and honestly, it doesn't excite me as much because it's just inundated with content.
Yeah.
I honestly think this is my personal opinion, but I think that there's so much negativity around content and entertainment right now, just because people have just absorbed too much. It's like nothing's good enough now, and
For sure.
there's a lot of ridiculous stuff going on, sure, but there's a lot of great stuff too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just got to take the time. Even with music, I mean, I think we were speaking about it the other day. When it comes to good music, it takes time to find really skilled musicians doing really experimental stuff who are just doing amazing things with their lyrics or form, but it's often out on the fringes. It's not going to be part of the popular mainstream. It's not stuff you're going to hear on the radio all the time. So you have to kind of like take the time to explore, and then you find those things that really resonate with you. So just I change the topic. Art Gremlin, maybe you're having the same problem as me. Is your canvas just refreshing? Or when you say it keeps crashing, describe the experience there for us. So maybe I'm not alone in my struggles here.
Every 5 minutes.
Okay, for me it's a tad more frequent. Because that seems to be a connection issue. And I know on my side I tend to have very fluctuating download latency. Or download and upload. So it could be that, but I have no idea. I don't know if there's anything we can really do about it on our side. The canvas isn't an obnoxiously large resolution. No, it should be fine.
The iPad. Okay. Well, that's we'll take a note of that one.
Because for me on the iPad, it tends to be more stable.
Yeah, you use it a lot, right?
Yeah, although I do miss my keyboard shortcuts when I'm on the iPad, because I don't have a wireless keyboard with me at the moment. I need to get one. I find using Magma with a keyboard is just so much smoother.
Yeah. Get me started. Although I have been using the Wacom 1, and I enjoy it. I enjoy having it around.
Because that's quite a bit smaller than your main seat, right?
Yeah, it's like in my optimal environment, just because I have access to a Cintiq, it's of course always going to be that. But with that said, it's like I use my Wacom 1 on the other side, and it's pretty handy. It's like a nifty little size there,
Yeah, it is. I think it's that kind of sweet spot with drawing tablet sizes, but for display tablets anyway. That's sort of 13 to 16 inch. Any bigger than you definitely need to have like a more permanent setup that's well arranged.
right?
But with that sort of 13 inch, you can kind of shift things around on your desk. You can easily put things away, bring it back out when you need it. I'm using a 12-inch one at the moment. It's just a little too small. It's convenient for traveling, but it's just a little too small to work on. for me anyway. Like I think for like maybe beginners and hobbyists, it's kind of perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I need to have a look at, and especially if I want to bring now my reference window over onto this thing, then it's too much. I like to be able to see quite a bit of my canvas, and maybe I should work a little bit more zoomed out than I do. But yeah.
Monument said he's on a mini Wacom. I actually haven't used that one. Have you, Ryan?
Wait, let me have a look here. When you say a mini one, what sort of size are we looking at? My first tablet was, I've still got it. It's sitting behind me there with Pyro as a Graffiti 3. I think it's a 5 by 4 inch. Or is it 4 by 3? I'm not too sure. Yeah, and it's difficult to work on such a tiny surface. You can tend to like draw a lot with your wrist.
You said, hold on, let me get my tape measure.
To its medium. Nice.
Yeah, but listening to you talk about just, you know, the tablets you like and use, Ryan, it's like I have observed there are so many different. I always kind of complain like, why are there so many devices? There's just so many different things. But some people, it's like, you know, there's different things that people are adding to certain tablets that are just nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think particularly with the sort of Wacom competitors that are targeting more the beginner markets and are trying to be more like affordable alternatives, not necessarily compete at that as on the professional market. I think they experiment with different things, and they tend to end up with a lot of devices because of it. I was saying to someone, I was doing a live stream on my own channel the other day, and it was this guy who goes by the name of the 7 Pens on YouTube, and he's done some really cool videos about the kind of inner workings of like a Wacom tablet, for example. What's going on underneath the surface? How does that pen technology work? How does EMR work? Yeah, stuff about screens, using metal tips. Anyway, but we were talking briefly about XP Pen and how many devices they have, and it's so much at the moment. Like they've got so many devices, and in my mind, I don't know. I think more time should go into just figuring out a release before bringing out a new product, or it should be like refined so you have maybe a smaller lineup of like really solid kind of things. But maybe it's just a different approach where they're putting out lots of different devices, and there will be some things working differently on different devices or suit different types of preferences that people have. Because I mean, artists are also, we vary wildly in what we like and the ways that we work. So maybe having a wide range of devices isn't necessarily a bad thing. But as a beginner getting started, you're like, what device do I get? There's so many to choose from. So that's where where I think like the Wacom One is quite nice. It's a no frills type of device. Like, it's a display. You put the pen on the display and you draw. You don't have to worry about express keys or any of that kind of thing. You can figure that out. There are other ways to work with that, and most of us gravitate towards the keyboard in any case. So yeah, but it does the core job well, and that's the focus.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect take, and you're absolutely right. It definitely did. Well, you know, development, software and hardware. You know, people developing their own ways of, you know, what's the logic behind it? How does it function? You know, what does the artist want versus, you know, what does it need to do, and that can change as far as, you know, what it has to offer.
Yeah, for sure. That's not a mini tablet, Mungie. That's a decent size, man.
I didn't even see it.
10 by 8? That's...
Yeah, Ryan's out here
it's a medium.
in the wild using little... What's the smallest tablet you've used?
I've got it here in the drawer. It's the... Here we go. It's the XP Pen Deco Fun XS. But this is also like a sort of more or less 5 by 4 inch. It's so difficult to draw on this. Well, to paint. Like I like being able to use my whole arm to paint. It's a little tricky on this, but this you can use perfectly, I think, for sculpting and 3D modeling, that kind of thing.
Cool.
But for painting, it's fine too. Just the thing is, if you have a larger display and you have a really tiny tablet, a small movement on a small tablet correlates to a really large movement on a large monitor. So you don't want to have that sort of big disconnects. It's better to have a tablet that's a little bit bigger to match your. It doesn't have to be the same size as your display, but you want a little bit more room.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Otherwise, that accuracy, like getting to that specific point in your screen, gets difficult with a tiny tablet.
I love when the tablet conversations gets the people going. It brings people out.
Okay, with touchpad instead of physical buttons. Ooh. So, what tablet are you using, Nexus? Like, there's I think a Canvas has got a touchpad, and the Intuos 3 has got the touchpads as well, which I also didn't like initially. I prefer like more the touch ring sort of approach, but it's got the ring and the buttons. Or am I totally misinterpreting what you've got there? Oh, a touchpad that has keys mapped to it. Ooh, please drop a model code or like a model name and code there in the bottom. I'd like to check out what you're using, because the original Intuos, which I've got in storage, it doesn't have buttons that you press, like clickable buttons. It's also a sort of touchpad, and you have to tap those buttons with your pen. You can't tap it with your fingers. And it's so annoying because you have to lift up from where you're drawing and tap on those things. But this was more like your standard menu functions, not necessarily switching between brushes or brush sizes and that kind of thing. I don't think it was intended for that sort of use. Yeah, the express keys get so. I find that when I started out, express keys were great. Like when I shifted from this smaller tablet up to the Deco Pro, like
yeah,
it was like a whole new world. I was like, yes, express keys. I feel like such a pro. I can like customize things to the way I like them, and it was great. But as I got better at painting and I started getting more familiar with my tools and the different tools I have available in Photoshop, for example, I was like, oh wait, I don't have enough buttons here. Like there are so many different things I could program into it. So yeah, I just kind of ran out. And then it's back to the keyboard. Like if I'm going to be using some keys on my tablet and some keys on the keyboard, I might as well just use the keyboard because it's all there.
I think you pretty much nailed it. I was trying to think about what that actually would be for me, and I think ultimately it's like the responsiveness of the keys. First of all, I never usually like buttons themselves, like that are attached to a tablet. If they have those, for some reason they just, I don't know, like the speediness of just clicking a key on a keyboard is so nice, and then having access to so many different things. It's like, have you guys ever used the smaller numpads? It's not like a whole keyboard. It's literally just like a little side keyboard.
I've seen. Whoa, what happened for me? What happened? I've lost my layer. No. Oh. There we go. So I lost my layer. Yeah, I've seen people using that where it's just like the left section of the keyboard, and then program everything into that. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, exactly. Anything that's like a companion with the tablet that offers keys, I just can never. I think to your point earlier, I just can't get over the speediness of having a keyboard.
Yeah.
Better.
Yeah. This is why the Tourbox seems like such an interesting device to me, because there's so much that you can program into it. I think you can get over 40 functions, if not more, like programmed in. But the buttons all and dials have a different feel to them, especially if you go with the the Toolbox Elite, which has got the haptics built in. So everything like feels different, and you start making those links. It's like a way more sensory kind of link between your different functions, which I think is quite interesting. But there is so much that you can program in, because you can also double up with having like your modifier keys, like Control or Alt or whatever, combined with those other things. So it gives an additional layer of functions when you've got a modifier key pressed. So it just seems so versatile, and you can get a lot out of it. So I'm keen to test that out. But then when you have so much that you can do with the thing, it's like, well, geez, okay, what do I program to this, and what do I program to that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, honestly, just hearing you talk about that stuff, though, it really does make me want to try. Like, I feel like a big reason why I haven't, too, is because I used to just always be on the road. I'd be going from work to college campus, teaching in different places. Cintiqs were always, the standard, at least at the places that I was teaching at. So it's like the idea of also like being at home more regular, like having my gear and only ever using my gear makes me more likely to want to try out other things. Because like half the reason is like I don't want to get married to mapping a bunch of keys to a thing, and if I gotta go somewhere, I can't do it as efficiently. So like I was just got like do it out of the box, and then that way you can always do what you need to do, kind of thing.
That makes total sense. Hey, Starry Night Sky, thanks for joining.
Yeah, welcome.
Art here.
This is the way.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense with the moving around. If you've got to shift to different devices and stuff, I suppose you can, depending on what you're doing, you can export a lot of your settings and carry things around with you, but sometimes it's just easier to go out of the box, and a lot of software follows the same sort of key combinations. So whether you're shifting from Critter to Photoshop or whatever, there's a lot of, even in Magma, a lot of the shortcut keys here follow what you'd expect to find in Photoshop. So it's a pretty easy transition.
Yeah, for sure.
Just lay it down.
Yeah, seeing some good call outs for other people's work is a good chance. Man, it's already 11:30 here.
What?
30 minutes left. Monkey Man, where are you at with the countdown? I'm gonna do a quick review of the canvas.
Well, I haven't been drinking water.
SKV, Chris Joyner, nice, looking good. How was that? Nomenon going in on the perspective and that archway, very impressive. I love to see that.
Yeah, that right side's going wild in several ways in one.
Yeah, and Nexus.
Minecraft Steve.
Nexus is at you in the top right with that kind of looks like a riot.
Whoa. There's Everest over there.
Everest, that's gorgeous. Great perspective too. Who's got the demon here on the back wall? Or sort of like a huntress with horns.
Art Gremlin.
Oh, that's Art Gremlin's piece? That's sweet. Ham, dig it. That's cool.
Ah!
Mungie, that was yours, right? The purple color palette up there. Dude, check out Mungie's block guy. Were you talking about this earlier? Did I miss that?
No, I didn't. I wasn't talking about it. Sort of Minecraft character.
Amazing work. That's super sweet. Ryan, man, you got to get out there. You're nailing that style. I could totally see that.
Could put it out there in Tbilisi and see what. Refresh. Yeah, I've been much slower today with this. Okay, normally I'm slow because I'm talking so much. Actually, with the same friend in junior school. Well, I don't know. He didn't have to stay the same as I did, but I'd always have to stay back later at school to finish my schoolwork because I was too busy talking in class. So it still really slows me down to be talking all the time. Like, la, 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 la.
Nothing changed, man.
No. But yeah, with this canvas refreshing, it does make progress a lot slower too. Yeah, I've never actually painted one of these pigeons out in the city before. I've put stickers up, but haven't painted anything yet of this.
Yeah, y'all are killing it on the right side. Going ham. Monkey, you get super bonus points for going full 3D out here. I really dig it.
I thought someone was... Oh, there's the rabbit. Oh, that was cool. The rabbit in the skull. Who was doing that?
Oh, wow. I didn't even see that down there.
That's cool, eh?
It's actually shaded really at a distance. I legitimately thought that was in the picture. I didn't even think twice.
So cool.
And those candles too. I'm sorry, not candles. The spray cans.
Oh, hectic. I didn't even see those down that side. Gotta zoom out more.
There's like Rick and Morty tunnel going on in / Ghostbusters. That's a sweet portal. I dig it. It's a nether portal. Nice. Nether portal is the way. So anybody else, if they weren't here, would you be playing Hogwarts Legacy as well? Or is that just me?
Yeah, I see a few of the Magma team have been commenting on that.
Yeah, I saw Philip. Philip was asking if anybody was playing. I was like, yes.
I see you have played. I saw you had purchased it, but you weren't sure if you're going to have time to play yet.
I found a whole hour last night, and it was addicting. Rupert Bunny, the Forbidden Game. It's. I was honestly kind of nervous. I mean, I've always been a big Potter fan in general, but I was kind of nervous at how awesome it is because everybody's been telling me and the crazy thing about it is the way that you can play out the narratives of the characters, getting sorted in the right house and who you talk to and what pathways they lead you down. People keep telling me about things that I should do after I didn't do them. And I was like, no, should I go back and start a new game? Or that's not a game that I need in my life.
There's so many options. Yeah, I see. I mean, I can't really add anything to the Hogwarts side, but I see also Baldur's Gate 3, sort of getting some progress there. I think there was a release date or something, or was it a trailer that? What did Damien share on the group?
I know which one. I can't remember the name.
It was Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, okay.
I thoroughly enjoyed number 2. And the initial trailer for Baldur's Gate 3 looked amazing, and it's such cool gameplay.
I gotta go back and look at that one again because I remember seeing that being passed around, but then you shared a couple other things, or maybe I'm thinking of old stuff that I missed. I saw a few video game shares today that I was like, man, That looks really good.
Like there was the good job by Paladin Studios in that corporate environment of chaos. Where you had to
That
come up with
game, I do remember.
creatives.
That looks amazing.
It's so funny. I was keeping an eye on Paladin Studios there because they were doing internships at the studio. They're based in the Netherlands, and they had a couple of internships. One for game design, and I think there was another for environments. And I wanted to see if they would do one for prop design or something over time, because I would be keen to get into that. But I mostly just wanted to follow to see what the kind of requirements are for those types of positions, even at like an internship level, and see where I need to shape up and develop some skills to put together a portfolio before applying to such things. But yeah, and then I went and had a look at what games they'd produced, and this was one of them. And I was in stitches the first time I saw it, because it's got, like, we were talking about this corporate voice that goes into company promo videos and stuff. It sort of has that feel, but it's just like chaos inside the work environment. Flinging projectors through the walls to get to the conference room.
It nailed all the events and things that you need to do, but just like what the possibilities that you have available to discover like new ways to complete a task looks like a freaking blast.
Yeah. They've got another game. I can't remember the name of it. But it's more of like a card, sort of collectible card battling type of game. So you get cards for different warriors and things, and put them against the other ones when you progress on the map. Which is, the style of it was pretty cool. Very angular type of style, which is quite fun. Super stylized.
The last good stylized game you played, do you remember?
I was playing a bit of Stardew Valley, so that's like pixelated, that kind of pixel art type of style. It was quite fun. I needed something more relaxing because, like Overwatch, love Overwatch.
Yeah,
I get way too like worked up, and I'm not super good at it either, so it gets pretty frustrating. All these super skilled players with reflexes of some ungodly bird of prey. And yeah, it's just difficult to compete with. I was like, I need something chill. I'm gonna have a farm. So off I went to Stardew Valley. But I've been playing a bit of Diablo Immortal again, which I'm getting a little bit tired of. It doesn't have the same. I really enjoyed Diablo 2 and the remastered version as well. Like, it looks so good, and that has so much more repeat value for me. But maybe it's because of the nostalgia element to it that going back to it, like it brings back a lot of fun memories where we used to have these all-nighters at the what do we call it? A place called the Hive. It was like our LAN gaming cafe.
Oh, I had my own version of the Hive.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So those are good times. You had to book it for the weekend. They would do it, I think, Friday nights and Saturday nights. Get your buddies, and we used to play Diablo, and we used to play Counter-Strike. That was the
nice. Oh, man, you got into the Counter-Strike game. Whoa.
Oh yes. But this is Counter-Strike before CS:GO that everyone's aware of now, obviously. So yeah. So maybe it's that. What else? What else have I been jamming? Oh, a buddy and I occasionally play Worms Reloaded on Steam, and that's always a lot of fun. That was also something I used to play many years ago, and it's still such a blast to play. Have you ever played it?
Wait, which one?
Worms. Like, we got Worms.
No, I remember seeing some stuff on it. It actually looked amazing.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like, you have to try and plan out your attacks, and you got to deal with, if you don't pay attention and actually the wind is blowing, then your missile tends to turn back and land on you instead. I think, like, cool sound effects. Those were actually a lot of the sound effects we were making in class at school. So these silly worms. It's kind of like this indistinct kind of sound going on. So, yeah. Good times. So in terms of stylized games, that's probably the most sort of stylized I've been jamming of late.
Yeah, those are good call-outs. They were throwing in the chat. Worm 3D. Did you play that one?
No, I haven't played that yet. Not yet. Actually, I rebooted my. Well, I did a hard reset of my computer recently, and I haven't put Steam back on yet. Need to do that. Well, no, I don't need to do that. It's a bad idea. But
Yeah, that's.
I'm going to do it despite all logical recommendations. So much time going to games.
Oh, okay. So it's just a 3D version of Worms, the PS2 version. It's just like
okay.
converted to 3D.
I see.
I was gonna call out. Did anybody play Firewatch?
I haven't heard of this.
Firewatch was a very story-driven game, kind of like a mystery. That was probably the best. I mean, I kind of only get into those games like super heavy story. Although my Switch does get some playtime. I go back to old school stuff from our generation, like NES, and I was replaying all the Marios and catching up on like Gradius 3 used to be one of my go-tos. I love that game. Battletoads and Double Dragon.
Oh yes. Or Street Fighter.
Street Fighter.
Street Fighter. That's not what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of Streets of Rage.
Oh, Streets of Rage. Did you play the remake?
Yes. It's so good.
So good.
I've broken the D button on my keyboard playing that. No, it's snapped in half. And I had to put tape on it to keep it together. So I have to be way more intentional to try and push D when I'm typing out an article or a message. And then I think did I share with you the Ninja Turtles remake?
Oh, you did. If you didn't, it was somebody else. I just saw it like a day or two ago. It looks spectacular and a little bit more stylized.
Yeah, it was us who was talking about it. I remember that was your response. So I'm keen to play that as well. I don't know why I'm taking ownership here. There's a game on Steam called Boot Fighter, and it's kind of that sort of Double Dragon type of game, or Streets of Rage, that sort of punch things around, but it's set in South Africa with South African slang, like the kind of white bro type of character. And yeah, it just goes around parts of Johannesburg, and I've played a demo of it, and yeah, it's just, I think it's a lot of fun around the language and the South African slang, going to impress the binnets, as he calls them, impress the chicks.
What do you guys say when you're greeting people? How's it?
How's it? Yeah.
How's it? Yeah.
Yeah. How's it? Or awe? It's another one. So yeah, but I forget sometimes when I'm working with people from all over the world now. Like, I kind of want to greet. Sometimes with you, I'm like about to type, like, how's it, Saul, or what's happening?
Yeah.
Like, oh wait, how's it? It's probably not going to make sense the way I would type it, unless I go like, kind of, how is it, type of thing. Just HOWZIT. That's kind of.
I'm actually I have a history with some South African folks, so I'm down with the how's it for sure.
Okay, cool.
Or boiks.
How's it going? Boiks. I don't know boiks.
Oh, that was
different part of the country.
Yeah, maybe.
There is that kind of localized slang that happens.
Is there?
Yeah, I think Cape Town got some of its own thing going, which I'm not too familiar. But it comes out with, particularly with our comedians. I think then you start to see like, oh wait, okay, there's some different ways of talking in parts of the country. It's a big country, so it's no surprise.
Yeah, we got our versions of that here in the States for sure.
Yeah, even accents I've noticed with the States. Like,
Oh really? Well, yeah. I mean,
yeah,
do you notice? What does mine sound like? Something specific that you know?
I can't place it now. I do remember thinking about it and like, oh wait, Solomon sounds quite similar to someone else I've heard. But like someone from New York, for example, like
Totally different.
You could pick that up quite quickly. We bumped into someone in Bangkok a couple of months ago, and he was on the metro on the way to the airport, and he just started up a conversation with us, and asked where we were from, and then obviously repeat the question back at him. Like, I should have known. Like, it sounded like so much like another friend of mine is from New York. So,
That's good.
Yeah.
Starry Night Sky was asking, could somebody explain the no Jedi rule? Yes, specifically hijacked this stream as the Magmalorian. So traditional Mandalorian rules, no Jedi. And I can't turn off this AR effect, so it's for the duration. I'd have to restart my computer, which I did not want to do. I just got my Wacom drivers all like reinstalled and got everything going. I got my camera on, and then this thing, I couldn't turn it off. I was like, no. It works if I put my hands in front, but then it pops back.
Oh yeah, now mentioning drivers. I've lost my layer again. The driver settings application probably looks totally different from what you're used to with your Cintiq, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, I'm on this old dinosaur Cintiq, the 21UX, which is almost 20 years old now, 15 years old. Whew. And but it was built, this thing is like one of those original Wacoms it's built to last, you know, like it's still kicking. I've had two Wacom Cintiqs since then that have had some things going on, power supply and some other stuff. But this one has just stayed tried and true.
Nice. I was looking at, I watched a video by this guy on YouTube. His channel name is Tokyo Lens, and he's got some really nice videos exploring around Japan. He's been living there for quite a good number of years, and he took some guys around. I think they were from the States. There were some tech YouTubers, and he took them around to parts of Akihabara, which is the kind of electronics district. And Nexus, you also watch him. So he took these guys around to check out some stores. They were looking for like old, like vintage Mac stuff, and various other random techie things. But they came across this. There's a store called Hardorf, which obviously there were plenty of jokes around that, or like resisting the temptation.
Yeah.
But I went and looked in their online store because they've got like old and used electronics that's still in pretty good nick. And sorry, I was crashing. Tokyo Lens. And yeah, they found like some amazing electronics. And I went and looked in their online store. I was like, oh, maybe they've got some cool Wacom devices there. And lo and behold, they've got like a stack of, like, even on the website, they got a bunch of Wacom devices. I was looking for much older ones, like these sort of legacy devices. They got some newer stuff too, but just older Wacom tablets at a good price, decent. Like I might lose a fair amount of money on my visits.
It sounds like it.
I'm always checking out like Facebook Marketplace, and depending if I'm like in South Africa, then we've got Gumtree there as well. So look for the older devices. Every now and then I come across the older displays, but it's not something it's not something I can be spending too much money on right now, because I'm just accumulating, and I don't know what to do with, like, because trying to resell like an old Wacom device now, it takes time. and with moving around, it just doesn't make sense. Yeah, so I'm like, okay, I'd love to buy this old display, put it to the test, see how it still works today. Like, well, what am I gonna do with it afterwards? It's not exactly a slim device. Like with most older devices, they tend to be a bit on the chunkier side. So
Right.
yeah, I have to rein in my addictions.
You're trying to throw in Funko and tablets. Those are rough.
I mean, I was thinking about, like, even with the Funkos, should I just get one? Because we are going to, like, move around again at the end of the year. Like, no, I want to. It's got to happen. So, but that's where it's got to stop there. I can't let it get out of hand.
Yeah, you've got good self-control. You waited to watch Mandalorian season 2 for how long? That tells me a lot.
Yeah,
I think you'll be all right.
It was almost like a year after season 2 came out, I think, that I hadn't watched it yet. But it was because, I don't know, for whatever reason, I hadn't sorted out a VPN yet on my device, and I was still watching like a lot of stuff on Netflix, and I don't want to have multiple subscriptions unnecessarily. So if there's a trial period, I'll take full advantage of that and like binge everything I can. But then, yeah, with recent travels, like, no. Firstly, cybersecurity, man. Got to get that VPN sorted. And I was like, well, there is the added benefit that I can now get Disney Plus where I'm at, and so it was time. Because in Georgia, like here we don't actually have Disney Plus, so I have to activate the VPN. Get hooked up to Turkey.
Oh yeah,
through Turkey.
That's crazy. No Disney Plus.
Yeah, and only recently got available in South Africa. I think in the last year, I think it's become available. If not less than that. But people have complained about it.
Starry Night Sky had a good question. Anyone have any tips for improving realistic art? Didn't know what better time to ask than during Magma Clubhouse. Totally.
Yeah, studying realistic stuff, I suppose. Then you got. I think someone else also said this. You got to look at things in real life. Yeah, it's a tricky one. One, you want to like understand the shape and form of what you're looking at. This is kind of what we're doing in our Magma classroom, right? Like trying to get comfortable with simplifying what we're looking at, like an apple, plenty of apples, and understand lighting, because I think lighting is the key thing to making something look realistic. If you've got your values right, you're going to have like good depth and form, but the lighting is what's going to really help to make things look convincing and realistic. So,
yeah, Starry, Ryan's a good one to talk about with that particular aspect. I've seen a lot of Ryan's work, and the lighting aspect I have observed is huge. And I don't know if have you Starry out in classroom streams on Thursdays?
We've got them up on our YouTube channel, so if you have missed them, like, they're there.
We're doing 2 streams right now. Ryan's streaming on Thursday, every Thursday, and we are now on, what are we on, the 3rd part of your series, Ryan, on Essentials of Painting?
Yeah, tomorrow's our 3rd one.
That one, going through just value and shading and lighting, just some of the core basics, and that I've observed to be super important to get first. But then additionally, we're doing every other Tuesday with Udi Kamenovich, who's talking about different things. Just head construction was our recent topic, stylization. Udi is traditionally, his portfolio is a lot of stylized work, but he can do so many different things. So I think joining both Ryan and Udi's streams, and you get to participate in Q&A.
Yeah. Actually, now I'm questioning whether it is the 3rd or the 4th one. It's irrelevant, but that we're running. I think it's the 3rd.
Good question. So we've been doing the streams the previous week. So we've been doing it 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. We're now doing this one at 10 p.m. And we're actually going to do Ryan's tomorrow at 10 p.m. as well, Central Standard Time. The information's in Discord, and actually I'll drop the link here in the chat as well, so you can get it to our YouTube. Trying to do a better job of organizing our YouTube, so if any of you come to our homepage, you'll see essentially you're just going to get the classroom, podcast, and house. Those are all like the top 3 lists, so you should see anything that's coming up soon or scheduled ahead of time.
Yeah, but it is tricky. One just has to. You gotta just look at the real thing and try and understand that. Not indulge too much in the stylized stuff. And it's time. It's just time.
Yeah.
Time to understand things. I was trying to stream yesterday and just like warm up a little bit for the upcoming class, and I gave myself got a reference image, and I had such a bad painting time. Like things were just not working. I was having a lot of delay with my strokes on here for whatever reason. Just technology hates me. So it felt like really weird trying to draw. It wasn't smooth at all, and I was struggling so much to get the still life to look like anything. So I'm like, you know what? This stream can stay unlisted. I don't think anybody needs to see this. It was such a mess after an hour. I had a friend join me, so it was cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We'll have to. I mean, are you doing those just as like just a hangout, or?
Yeah, and just I haven't had much time to record any other videos ready for my channel, so I said, okay, well I've got to warm up with my painting anyway, so why not just go live with it and embarrass myself. Sometimes your drawing ability just doesn't cooperate. It happens. Now,
Indeed.
My light might be funny here, but I will probably start doing like set specific topics and take people. It's nice to sometimes just hang. I find myself doing this a bit more these days, but putting on other artists' longer streams. I'm trying to do it more because I haven't been for a while. And while I'm painting, they're just kind of doing the thing as well, and you just glance over every now and then and see how they're progressing. And sometimes people will work on one piece over several streams that are several hours long each, and it's cool to see the progression of a piece. So I was thinking maybe to try and do a similar thing when I start picking out some more serious pieces to do again, which I haven't done in a long time.
Just catching up on Starry's comments, and Rupert was saying Rupert Bunny's a longtime user in Magma and thought the Clubhouse. Hopefully it's not. We're just hanging, talking. One of the big things I put in the description for YouTube is this is a no pressure event. Anybody, this is just to get some time and talk about stuff. And
Yeah.
Starry, thanks for jumping in. Really great to have you, and we'll be excited to have you for the next ones.
Definitely. It's funny. Like I get the intimidation thing as well. And suddenly you've got to. Oh, now you're putting yourself out there. When you've got to draw live. And when Magma was released, I think it was that same year, but in 2021 with Lightbox. No, not 2021. Or was it? I get confused. When COVID had hit, Lightbox Expo shifted online. Lightbox got sort of Magma got sort of relaunched and put out the public scale, and I jumped into a session where character designer Walter Tulp was hanging out and painting. It was like, it wasn't doing a talk or anything. It was just hanging out, painting with other people. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna come and paint. Like, oh cool, Walter Tulp's here. Like, I'm gonna draw like on the same canvas. And I got such stage fright, and I like try and draw something like, oh that's so bad. Like, scratch it out. No, I can't have that. It was quite silly, but I get the feeling. And I've done a lot of live drawing as well at events, and it's super intimidating to start. Everyone's watching you and you're busy painting on a canvas.
It totally is. But then if you make it through it, it's exhilarating at the same time, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it is, definitely.
I mean, you know, I've talked about this on the stream. It's like I've spent the last 10 years or so just like, you know, just like threw the fundamentals out the window and just doing everything in 3D and got into sculpting. And I was nervous to come into these streams. It's like, man, I'm going to be, you know, riding back seat doing crappy little drawings over here. But like I've found like in the first few weren't great, and I'm still not doing great, but like it's becoming more kind of freeing and just fun to hang out. And I'm actually finding, even while we're talking, and you know, I'm feeling more confident in just the stroke applications and things I'm doing. It's super fun.
Oh, that's good. But this is what it's like when, like, this was supposed to be when we were drawing. Like, that was really, we're not here to judge anyone or anything like that. We're
Right.
here to just hang out and draw. This is what we used to, I think, was it in another stream or when you and I were talking, was as kids, like sitting in front of the TV, watching cartoons, drawing. Like, that was the way. And here this is what it's about here as well. It's just hang out, drawing. Some people draw better or draw some things better than others, and it was like, oh cool, I really like what you did there. And you know, we can obviously learn from one another, but it really doesn't matter what you're drawing, how it looks. The main thing is we're just hanging out, having a good time.
Totally. Absolutely. Monkey's still counting us down. 4 minutes. Nice. Good work. Good work. Well, maybe one last browse around the canvas.
Yeah, how's that texture looking on your helmet?
It's been super fun. You know, of course, this has given me so many ideas for like brushes and things we can add in the future, but it's been so fun just using these core brushes to try to get an actual painterly effect.
Yeah.
I've been using the splatter, like combination of rough and splatter, and it like fills it in pretty nicely.
Yeah, for sure. Scatter's really cool. There's obviously with that scatter now you get like a lot of like dense pixels together, and you can obviously expand it. But I see how some people, I noticed Ahmed Alduri does this quite a bit, but he'll like really scale up his brushes. It doesn't work so much for this splatter brush, but scales it up, makes the mark, but then erases down from that where he actually wants those marks to appear. I suppose you could do the same with your selection tools, where you just like hide specific area, blow up your brush so you really get into the texture of it, and then start to just erase back to control things a little bit more.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's also got a very cool video on painting apples on the and I think what I'll be talking about in tomorrow's class is quite similar sort of approach, where he's talking about brush economy, but it's the same thing with his textures that he adds to it. He just sort of blows up his scatter brush.
Interesting. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
This whole back and forth process, like, it's not like each mark has to be the final thing. You can always refine it by cutting it back. Painting is so back and forth. That's just how it goes. Yeah.
Well, I love getting into just like the nitty gritty and the slight differences and variations that you can apply. Like, you're applying the same technique, but that'll be cool. That stream's coming up tomorrow. What Ryan was just talking about, I did share that in the chat. Before I do a last browse of the canvas, I was looking at some of the comments here. Starry Night was saying Magma is a large part of my art and collaboration experience as well. You're super
Awesome.
grateful. for the small talks. Awesome. That's really cool to hear. These are my favorite times. It's just, getting to chill and hang out and talk freely. The team is linked on the site. Oh, somebody was asking, makes me wonder who were the rest of the Magma team. I think I missed the conversation, but yeah, you can go to the site and see some information on the rest of the team. We should definitely be bringing some. We've been doing some internal classroom stuff. Ryan's been doing some internal drawing lessons, which is kind of how the whole classroom stream started. And so some of the team members actually will maybe joining Ryan's streams, probably Ryan's streams in the future for sure. And we can maybe give him a call out if you want to give him a shout out. Yeah. Monkey Man said Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
So that's the end. Yeah, I think actually on our website we don't have a page with the team yet, but I think that's something that will appear in the new site, so we can get to know who's all behind the growing team.
Indeed.
So, yeah, different skill sets, people doing different jobs.
Team, we killed it. This canvas, Ryan, this is a great choice, by the way. I love this location. This has been super fun. Let's take a look. Mungy's block, Minecraft character, nailed it. That's amazing. Mungy, did you also do the floating ghost box thing going on up there? That's crazy cool too.
I was wondering what that is. It made me think of a kite.
Like the color scheme, the portal, everything going on over there, awesome. Rupert Bunny, awesome tag.
Oh, that's what the RB is, of course.
Yeah.
We've got a little cityscape on the top left there.
Or if you're a Harry Potter fan, it's Regulus Black. But I'm just saying.
Of course.
That's all I saw. Monkey with the ham. That's a sweet one. And honestly, always got to give Monkey Man a call out for the countdown clock. Now the confetti horn. We're gonna start seeing negative numbers counting down here in a minute. We're now -2. Oh, this one turned out great with the broken horn. That's Art Gremlin's piece. Yeah, that one's great. Awesome work.
Yeah.
I like the imperfections of the horn.
Nice.
Indigo, of course. Of course, since we've got Ryan's piece right here. This dude, you got to come back and finish this one. I really like this. I want to see this tagged somewhere for real.
This is the kind of thing I would put on like my. I used to draw and paint on caps and hats and shoes and all that kind of thing. So I'd have stuff that kind of looks like this going on there, which I need to do with this cap. Actually, I've got my Posca markers in the drawer here. I thought it could make for a fun video where I sort of paint that up and go through the process.
Totally. We should make Clubhouse shirts for episodes, like whatever, just random things that occur. We'll just make that into t-shirts and just sell them. They'll have no context. People will just know what this thing is.
I think it's a good idea.
Oh, that'd be great. Let's check out the potentially up for subjective debate, but the all-stars here on the right side with Nomenon and Nexus, Starry Night Sky. The resist piece, who was up in the top on the wall? Who did the resist piece? Is that
Here.
maybe not here anymore? Everest, that's right, Everest. I love that piece. That just from a simplicity standpoint, it just looks great.
Oh, the Powerpuff Girls. So cool.
Yeah, okay, before I go, because I was starting to notice there's some really cool little subtle details in here. Does that say the cake is a he?
It's so fun.
All right, Starry Night, we got to get you in here next time for sure.
Yeah.
But appreciate the conversation and jumping in with us. We were just talking we had the podcast with Lois Van Barley. She was talking about Powerpuff Girls being one of the first big things that she focused on drawing. Like I remember mine was like Dragon Ball Z and just anime characters, you know.
It was the same for me. Also, Dragon Ball.
Yep. That was a very stereotypical like young male thing, right? Like
Yeah.
did you also get so kids in my band class and just random kids that started picking up that I could draw to some degree, and they would see my Dragon Ball drawings, and I was very like pencil and shading or
Yes.
pencil and sketching, and I remember people paying me to colorize their own drawings or draw pictures for them, and I had like a whole little Dragon Ball Z like little business for,
Cool.
for a couple years.
Nobody paid me, the cheap asses. Buy me a donut or something. No, that's so cool. And yeah, I think a lot of us at school were like, we had a bit of drawing ability that would be something that we gravitated towards. I think I also did Yu-Gi-Oh card sort of monsters, and then I got into doing the Warcraft sort of characters. I got super into the concept sketches in the Warcraft 3 manual for the game. There were sketches in there by Chris Metzen and I think a few others. It's like, this is the cool stuff. And then I came across Samwise with the World of Warcraft drawings and paintings that he was doing. I'm like, this is what I want to learn to do.
That's really good. That's really that'll your artwork, right? Because that's like so, I don't know, that's high quality fantasy art, you know.
So cool.
Yeah.
So cool. So that was kind of like the dream back then.
Nexus, Nomenon, amazing work. You guys really killed that wall over there. That's awesome. SKV's piece is up here in the top left, right?
Yeah.
And the buildings, that's cool. I really like that. We didn't get to the archway. I was thinking when I looked at this originally, that could be like a very cool, like, was it Michelangelo that did the
Sistine Chapel?
The Sistine Chapel. Like I was thinking we could do our own version of that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm loving this one so much. I'd love to come back to this, although robots is happening now. So like, I don't know. What do you guys think that are here?
This image is also cropped, so we could get more archway in.
Cake must be truth, or else it's not cake. It's a lie. Is it cake?
Okay, no, that doesn't quite look right. Let's do this.
It looks like Darkstalker just jumped in. Sorry, we're just wrapping up. Hopefully they'll be able to jump in the next time. Rupert, you're saying if I can come back and start tagging around people's art. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. This canvas will be available. We're going to keep this accessible throughout the week. So ideally, I'm actually really psyched about this one. I'd like to get back in here before our next stream, but we'll let you guys know what the plan is in the Discord events for next one. We may come back to this and finish it up. Hopefully try to get some more folks in here. And otherwise, though, feel free to keep working in this space throughout the week. And we'll be in touch next week. And thank you all for such a great run. It was nice to change up the time zone here and catch some of you new people. I appreciate you all jumping in.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Had a blast with this one.
Yeah, this one is too cool. I'm going to make sure we share this with the rest of the team. Everybody's going to love it. All right, y'all. Well, thank you all for tuning in to Magma Clubhouse. Have a great evening or day, depending on where you are. And we'll see you guys next time.
Ciao.
Ciao.